to Stitches and Sundries. My name is Lauren. You can find me on Instagram at LaurenUpStitching. And this is a podcast about cross stitch and stitchy goodness. And I have a ton of stuff to show this time. I don't know what was going on, but January I was so productive. I do know what was going on. Nothing. I had so much time. Like the only thing, I don't think we literally did anything since my last episode. I think we had a game day with friends and stuff like that, but like very minor stuff. So I've just been stitching up a storm. I've really set some stitching goals this year, and I blasted past them in January, which is really good. And so I have a lot to show. I have one fully finished object, 2 finishes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 whips. And that's not really all. I have 2 other whips I just felt like did not have enough done on them, but I worked on them. So I feel like I'll never be able to meet that again. Like, you know, when you're like, oh my gosh, look how much I've achieved, and now I want to achieve it every month, and that's just not a possibility. So let's talk about what I got. All right, so the first thing I have is covered in cat hair. Already sat in the chair for 2 seconds. Is this fully finished object. This is I Want to Believe by Alliton Embroidery, and I just got it back from the finishers who finished it as this cute little pillow, accent pillow for my sister's chair in our craft room. And the finisher decided to put this pink border on it, which I think is so cute. And the back is like a velvety silver. And it is done. It is done. It is in my sister's chair. I've been promising her this for over a year. And it is so cute. I even like how it like ruffles. I think that's so cute. So, that is off. This is a project I started in 2022. I finished it, fully finished it in 2024. Not terrible. This was a surprising amount of stitching. I don't know if it was the full coverageness of it, but this was like 15,000 stitches for something this small. It was very tightly packed, but I super loved it. It is so pretty and colorful. And yeah, so this is done. This is in my sister's thing. She was super pleased with it. And so I was like, I want to play with the velvet. So I was like, okay, I've gotten a couple things off my plate. I think I'm going to start something else. And she looked at me and goes, for me? Start something else for me? I was like, you're done, girl, for a while. She's not, but nothing big for a minute. So I'll put this up here next to my other pillow. There we go. So I finished that. Got that back from the finishers. But I did also finish stitching on a couple projects. So I'm pulling them out of my storage tubes. So this is Light a Single Candle by Modern Folk Embroidery. And I have it complete. And it is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. And while I'm down here today, I am going to look through my frame collection and see if I have something. I can't quite decide what color frame I want. I know I want to leave some of this dark blue around the edge because I really love the contrast of those two. I might frame it, you know, I might do instead of putting it in a picture frame, put it on a board, put a fabric backboard, and do something like that, like a standee. That might be a cute way to finish it. So I'm thinking about finishing options for this one. It turned out so beautifully. I stitched this on 14 count navy Aida, and I stitched it with hand dyed silks from BeStitchMe in the color Sunflower. And it turned out so beautiful. This I did as a blessing sampler that the awesome Carla, not Carol, not whatever name I randomly assigned to her last episode. It's Carla, who motivated me to get a lot done. So it was a really fun project. It was perfect. I put the last stitch on January 31st, just like you're supposed to do for a blessing sampler. So Maybe that's why my January was so good for stitching. Hopefully it continues throughout the year, because it's supposed to like bring you good luck throughout the whole year. So that was super fun. I definitely want to do more smalls this year. I think that was one of my like New Year goals. And so that just like put me in the mood to do a bunch of smalls. So, done. Ready to think about finishing. The other one I finished is, pull it out of its tube. This is Greetings from Beyond by Night Spirit Studio. And it is perfect. It is beautiful. I absolutely love how it looks. And this took a little while, but mostly because I just took it as like a work project. I'd worked on it mostly at work. And so little by little, I got it all complete. So I pretty much know how I want to finish this. I scour thrift shops, antique stores, junk stores for frames, but I also watch eBay. And because I wanted very specifically this arch in the frame, I put a bunch of alerts on eBay, and I found a frame. I have ordered it, so when it arrives, I will get this framed up, and I will show you the awesome frame that I found for this. Yeah, and so this is part of my divination set that I'm doing. It includes my Ouija board, and I am going to start, I think, another Night Spirit Studio. Rolling this up wrong. I think I'm going to start another Night Spirit Studio piece because I love her stuff. But I also really want to start another divination piece. So maybe as a small, I'll find something. I feel like I need so this Ouija board is by Tiny Modernist, and it does not have a planchette. I feel like a little planchette finish in a hoop, a small hoop, would be perfect. So that might be on my list as well. All right. So that's all my finishes. I love all of them. I am working to get them all finished, which is my favorite part. Like, not my favorite part. My favorite part is the stitching and finishing the thing. Like, hitting that 100%. So good. But then, like, after that, I'm still excited about finishing it. Finishing it. So, I have a bunch of whips too. I made a ton of work. I made a ton of progress. So, I'm going to do this one first because it's in the way. So this is CryptoNaturalist Sampler by Screaming Heart Designs. And it is a goal to finish this year, which should be no problem. I think I have about 6,000 stitches left, which should be totally achievable and doable in the next couple months. Thread everywhere. And this, I will have put it up when I was looking at thread. This is where I was last time, and I made some good progress. So, here is where I'm at. And I scrolled it up a little bit because I need to start working down here, but I finished off this vine. This vine. I finished off this vine, added here, and I've started working down. I did this skull, started working down here into this big, there's a big brick of black here, and I've started on that. So this is going to be another focus piece for the next month. Try and get, I'm so close to being done on this. Like, I think I've got the book here on the table that rocks if I so much as breathe. Where am I at? 69%. Nice. So, it's coming along. I just love the colors. I'm stitching this on 28 count Crystal Highlands by Picture This Plus, which is an opalescent fabric. And it is so pretty. It is so pretty. I love this thing. It never hit me how humongous it is though. I think this one might have been 40,000 stitches total. It was quite large. Larger than I now know to look at that when I'm choosing a project. Do you feel like doing that much? But the result is going to be so good. All right. Now I'm just going to randomly choose a bag. This is... okay, so this is the last piece. So the final piece has been released of Make Today Magical by Tiny Modernist. Cat hair everywhere. And it is done. So this is what the thing is going to look like completely. And here's where I was. And here is where I'm at. I'm not quite caught up, but I am so close. So, I have, this is, over here, this corner of things is part 5, I believe. And I added the cat, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. Got some flowers done. I think I finished these mushrooms. There's a ginormous, very densely stitched flower right here. And a little hourglass. And then this part will be done, and I will go to the right-hand side. They're not huge parts. I totally should be able to get this done. If not by the end of February, then like early March. But this cat, when I saw it, it was so close to my cat, Dusty Rose. So like, I'll put the picture from, this is the picture of the cat. It is white and brown, which is what my cat is. And I was like, I bet with just a little tweaking, I can make it look like Dusty Rose. And here's a picture of Dust. And I think I kind of got it. I thought, a picture I was looking at, her face was not as symmetrical, but it actually is pretty symmetrical. So I might go back and fix. She should have white on her cheeks. Like both her cheeks should be white instead of just one. And I made the brown a little more blobular because she's got like, we call it like somebody like drizzled caramel on her back. And then I used the vine as the little bit of her coloring on her haunch there. And I changed the tail from a single, it was like a brown tail with a white tip. And I changed it to be skinnier and a little bit striped because she has like a little rat tail. Her tail is too short and too skinny. And it's got rings on it. It looks like a little rat tail. And I grab it all the time. I have to take it. But so that is a pretty good conversion. Like I said, I could edit the face a little bit, and I changed the eyes from blue to green because she has green eyes. But yeah, I was super happy with that conversion. Took me longer than I thought it would. I thought it was going to be super easy. Anytime you do that on the fly without planning, it takes a little longer than you're expecting. So yeah, so I have that little bit there, and then one more section, and this will be done. And I am so excited to have this finished. I love the colors. It has been a fun project to stitch on. Yeah, really like it. I'm stitching this on 18 count Pansey, I think. Oh, let's go look. Yep, Pansey from Picture This Plus. And it's so pretty with the blues and the yellows. It's a perfect color, I feel. So, I love it. I think it's so pretty. So, that is coming along. I think I'm at like, with the new section added, I think I'm at like 89%. Like, it's so close to being done. So, I will be working more on that, and I'm hoping to have that done. So, this is kind of a second focus piece for the upcoming month. Sure, everything can be a focus piece, right? If you just try. If you just quit your job. That's a new start. Now a whip. 6 whips, 1 new start. Alright, here's another whip. So, this is My Rotting Body by Contrary Peri. Super cute little piece. It is a quote by Edvard Munch, who is the artist that did the screen. And I quite like the quote. I think he's an interesting guy. Nope, that is not what is in front of me. But you know what? It is laying right over here. Hang on. Let's trade. This is where I was. I'll put it up. I must have looked over there. Jeez Christ. The cat hair. My sister's cat likes to sleep on my project bag, so sometimes when I open them, it's just like release. The cat hair. And here's where I am. So I'm more than halfway. I might be 60% done with this one. It's really going now that I got that skull filled in. That was the big density of stitches. So I completely filled in the skull, finished this like leaf here between, started working up the bone, and now I'm like 60%. There's another bone that starts here. But yeah, it is really coming along. That skull turned out way better than I thought. Like, as I was filling it, I'm like, this thing looks, I don't know that it's going to not look really flat and cartoonish. And it does have that, like, illustrated style. But it turned out way better than I thought. So, yeah. Coming along nicely. Really loving the colors. This is 28 count Lazy River by Wichelt Linens. And I think it complements the light colors and the browns very, very nicely, and the blues. So yeah, really, really liking this one. This is another one that, like, I think it was like 7,000 stitches, and I'm almost 60% done. Like, this is going to go very quickly when I put the pedal down. I feel like I'm kind of at that point with a lot of my projects, because I don't do enormous projects, but like, they're all kind of 60%, 75%, like 50% done. And it's like, okay, if you just spent a couple days, you could have these knocked out. But instead I start something new, or I work on something way bigger. I don't know how to prioritize. I just pick up whatever I feel like anymore. Or something that I'm like, oh, you really need to put some time into that. Like, go put some time into that. Speaking of, that's how I got into the one I picked up previously, which is Greenhouse of Oddities by Lola Crow. I had to think. I love this piece. I actually have no clue how I'm going to finish it or what I'm going to do with it. Like, I just liked it so much. I'm like, I have no need for this piece. Like, I'm not a plant person. I don't garden. I have a black thumb. But I'm like, put up where, and but I was like, oh man, I love that so much. And I got it started, and it's such a fun stitch. Like, this is my first Lola Crow piece. It will definitely not be my last, because I freaking love the way she designs a pattern. Excuse me. Like, the process of stitching her patterns are quite nice. So I've put up at some point during my yammering where I was. So here's where I'm at now. There we go. So I have filled in a lot in the center. So I have, oh geez Louise, it's too big. I need the board, which is way over there. That's unhelpful if you're way over there. All right, let's try this. So I filled in this fuzzy vine here and started on that. I filled in a lot down here at the bottom. Got the, I always want to call it a Raphael flower, Rafflesia flower, can't remember. And started on the Woman Maria Meridian here. Did a ton of backstitch that I have been meaning to do. Let me see if I can get, there we go. Did a ton of backstitch that has been like needing done for stuff I already finished. So got a lot of that in on like just defining out some leaves and some pieces. I'm going to try and keep up with the back stitching so that it's not a big haul when I'm done. I'm going to try and finish this as like pieces. So finish the middle, work on a side, work on a side, work on the top. Obviously things bleed over all the time. There we go. Maybe that's the way to hold it. Boy. There we go. This was just so floppy. So yeah, I finished that fuzzy vine. There's an owl up there that I need to do some back stitching on. But the well is all backstitched. The Rafflesia flower is all backstitched. The bat flower, which is this black flower with the whiskers, that's all backstitched. The Venus fly traps are backstitched. I got a lot done on this. So yeah, so I just picked this up because I was like, wow, you've not put anything on this since like September of last year. Get that out. And as soon as it was out, I was like, ooh, that's right. I really love working on this. Ooh. So it's a super fun stitch. Highly recommend. I know she's got another Sal coming along, but I think my next one from her is going to be her Haunted Library one, which I loved. So I also have from a stitch box of some kind, I have one that's like Haunted Movie Night, but it's not my favorite ever. So I don't know that I'll stitch that one up. Doing good. I'm exhausted. I had to take Dusty to the vet. She has been in and out of the vet for the past month with some sort of infection that she just needed antibiotics for, which has been fun and interesting. But she's 15, and normally we have a vet that is very calm, non-reactionary, and he's been out, and so I have this other lady who's like, I'm like, I think she has a UTI, and the lady's like, bladder cancer. I'm like, you haven't done a single test yet. Do not get me started with how, and I'm like, well, and you know, she's old, and she has some sinus issues. She's had sinus issues the whole time we've had her, and she's like, well, she could suffocate in her sleep and die. Ma'am, I am already worried. You do not need, like, what is this bedside manner? And so I'm glad to be done with that lady. But Dusty's doing much, much better. Here, I'll put in the best picture. I've been showing everybody this picture because she's so cute. So that's my sister that she's laying on top of. And one night Sarah came home from work and was like so exhausted. I just kind of hit the couch. Like I was cooking dinner and she hit the couch and was gone. And Dusty, who's not been feeling well, immediately saw a lap from like another room. She heard that a lap was happening and ran to get waddled and stumbled to get up onto the couch to get snuggled with Sarah. And throughout the night, Sarah would wake up and go, Dusty, you're like sliding down. Because she's like propped up on the pillows. You're like sliding down. So she'd end up kind of like in the cradle of her hips. And eventually, Dusty's not the lightest thing in the world. She'd want her moved back up to her chest. So she'd call me, Lauren, move Dusty back up to my chest. So I go over and pick Dusty up. He would just ragdoll. Absolutely dead to the world. Only wanted to be snuggled. And I'd put her back up on Sarah's chest and she would snuggle right back down and they would both go back to sleep. I was like, this house is sick. I don't know what's going on. Everybody is exhausted and sick. So that's the cutest picture of Dusty because she's the cutest baby. All right. I've got 2 more whips and a new start. So, oh, I did more on this than I thought. I wasn't going to show this one. This one is You Rock by Stitchrovia. And there's where I was. Wow, Lauren, you cannot get this middle filled in to save your life. I'm just going to leave it folded. Here is where I'm at. So I obviously like that much orange, just finish it. And then down here, I think I had started the speaker, finished that speaker, finished all this. I think that's a CD. This is going to be a big amp. Guitar has been added. What is this over here? What is this? Oh, this is going to fill in to be like a VHS or cassette tape. It looks more like a VHS to me. Some notes, like all the little things are filling in. I'm also going to try and keep doing the back stitching as I go with this one. Just to keep track of, there are lots of singular stitches. And it's easier to get to the next singular stitch if I stitch the stem of the note on at the same time. So, like over here, you can see a few of them floating around. So I can just do the back stitching to get to the next singular floating stitch. Yeah, so this is coming along really nicely. I am enjoying this one quite a lot. A lot of black, but it's so fun to see the black, like you're just stitching black blobs and then all of a sudden a guitar appears. And then on this bright yellow, it's so pretty. This is 28 count Sunflower from BeStitchMe. Obviously, I like BeStitchMe products. And yeah, so that one is, there's a whole record. It goes all the way around. And I'm like, that seems like a lot. But I am already like 30% done. Seems low. But when you have this like one space of dense stitching, that's a surprising amount of, like at 30%, I would expect to be 30% of the way around the record, you know? I just listen to what the machine tells me. How good I'm doing. All right, last whip. Okay, I haven't done a ton on this one, but actually this one might be the next one I really push to finish, because I don't think I have much. This is Beggar's Christmas by Threadwork Primitives. Look in my book. And there's where I was. Yeah. Checking I had the right designer. And here is where I'm at. So I am almost done that big block at the bottom. And I've started up on the crow, which is kind of a big block of black. And I think this is turning out so pretty. Started on the stocking. Yeah, I love these colors. They're so pretty. I'm stitching this on 28 count Vintage Smoky White from Zweigart. I'm doing it with called for flosses, which are all specialty flosses. And I love the way, especially in the crow, like in that crow's tail, you can see the like variation in the black. I love that. I think that's so pretty. So yeah, I'm going to push to try and have this done. It's a Christmas stitch, you know, get that over with when winter. It was 60 degrees today in the mountains. Crazy. So yeah, get this over with before spring gets here. So I'm going to push to get that one done. And I think I only have like maybe, I'm 64% done. I might have 1,500 stitches left on this. It will not be hard to get done. So I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. That's my stack of whips. That's a pretty good stack. Like, I was rolling. There's a girl I watch on TikTok, and I will have to tag her in here somewhere, who every day she's showing her stitching journal. And I'm like, oh, I never had a stitching journal. So she's inspired me to track more stuff. Why are you reaching for that? All right, so I have one new start. And I talked about this a little bit in my year-end video, I think. So I have a goal to do more smalls. And Stitch Crypt has on her Patreon a series of, she's doing cryptids of the year. And so every month she's releasing a new cryptid. I think she's calling it Cryptid Culture. And her first month in January was Mothman. There he is. And so I started on Mothman. And here is where I am at. So I am stitching this on 32 count. Let's see. 32 count. Ink Spot Black from R&R Reproductions, which I got a bunch of scraps of. And it's the perfect size for these little tags. Actually surprisingly big. I think he is going to end up being like down to there. So they're surprisingly long. but he's so pretty. I love his, like, they really got the, like, glow feeling of the eyes and the red spots on his wings. They really got the fade correct to make it feel, like, luminescent. So I think that is going to be really cute. And so my plan is, I've got lots of scraps of this. And then the next one she released is Flatwoods Monster. This is the February cryptid. I'm going to try and get caught up. So I'm going to try and do this one in February's, in the month of February roughly. And I thought, man, I really like the Flatwood Monster, but I don't think that will look as good on this material. So I went through my stash because I'm really trying to use stash. Although on President's Day, we're going down to Charleston, West Virginia. And I am going to the Village Sampler and I am raiding their remnants box. And I'm going to buy fabric. I don't know what I'm going to do with it because I'm out of room for fabric, but I don't get down there very often. And I am going to spend my money on fabric. I'm excited. But I have this. I have kind of a light gray version of this, like a 32 count linen, but it's a light gray version. And then I have a 32 count, almost like a natural linen, in this same kind of washed out. I was like, okay, if I use those three, as long as she doesn't throw something absolutely crazy at me, everything should fit on dark gray, light gray, or natural. Maybe I'd have to get out black, which I don't have. But I think with the black framing, you wouldn't want to get out black. So, and this ink spot black is almost blue. Like it is a gray that is almost blue. So I think between those they'll look really nice. And my plan is now to finish them as a, is it called bunting? Where they're like the little flags that hang. I'm going to finish them as bunting for, I mean, year round in our house, but maybe Halloween. So I'm going to finish them as like, you know, down a pennants. Finish them like pennants. Is that the right word? You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about. So that is my plan, is to have 12 of them, you know, in different but compatible colors. There's Mothman. Where is he? And yeah. So I think this looks really cute. I really think that it's going to be so pretty. So this is another one. It's super small. I think each one of these is 2,000 stitches max. Like, super easy to just get those done. I'm going to work on them today, actually. That's my plan. So that is everything. That is me caught up. I did so much. It was so good. I am aiming to do the same in February, but I'm not doing nearly as well. Like, I had days where I have a day where I stitch 900 stitches in a day. And that is, maybe if you do nothing but stitch, that's a normal number for you. That is not a normal number for me. I was like, holy moly, 900, like what? And I've reached 500 stitches one time this month. So it's just a different month. I'm not on vacation, even though I want to be. So, anyway, that is what I've got. I am going to keep with the monthly-ish schedule. I'll see when I feel like, if I feel like I have a bunch of stuff to show in 2 weeks, I'll be back in 2 weeks. But I'm really just hanging out, stitching, getting ready for spring. Winter's almost over. I didn't do any of the chores I said were winter chores. Indoor chores. Didn't do them. So, I guess maybe I should get on that. But, yeah, doing good. Loving life. I hope you all are having a wonderful end of winter, start of spring. Hope you're not getting flash floods anywhere. All that good stuff. So, I hope you're being as productive as I have been lately. because man, if I could spread that around to everybody, I would. So have a wonderful February. Happy Valentine's Day. Stay safe.